You check your phone. No new messages. You scroll anyway. Nothing changes, but you scroll again. That small ache in your chest, the one you feel when a room goes quiet and no one texts back, is not a flaw in your personality. It is a warning system that is millions of years old, and it was never designed for the life you are living now. You call it loneliness. Your brain calls it something else entirely. For most of human history, being alone did not mean a quiet evening. It meant danger. Real, physical, immediate danger. A human without a group had no one to watch for predators while they slept. No one to help carry food, fight off threats, or share the burden of raising children. Alone meant exposed, and exposed meant dead. So your ancestors' brains developed a signal. A sharp, uncomfortable, impossible to ignore signal that fired whenever social distance grew too wide. That signal is the same one lighting up in your chest right now when you feel forgotten. It just doesn't know the calendar has changed. Psychologist John Cacioppo spent decades studying this exact mechanism. He argued that loneliness functions like hunger or thirst. Hunger tells you your body is low on fuel. Thirst tells you your body is low on water. Loneliness, Cacioppo proposed, tells you your body is low on social connection, a resource just as critical to survival as food. Your brain does not distinguish between starving for calories and starving for people. It treats both as emergencies. Think about that for a second. Isn't it strange that the discomfort of eating alone in a cafeteria and the discomfort of physical hunger might be run by overlapping ancient circuitry? This is where things get stranger. Your body's stress response, the one meant for tigers and rival tribes, activates when you feel socially disconnected. Cortisol rises, heart rate shifts, sleep quality drops. Your immune system, in some studies, becomes measurably less effective. You are not imagining the toll loneliness takes on you. Your body is bracing for a threat that, evolutionarily speaking, used to mean exile from the group and near certain death. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar took this a step further. He proposed that human brains evolved specifically to track and maintain complex social bonds more than any other species on Earth. His research suggested a cognitive limit, now widely known as Dunbar's number, of roughly 150 stable relationships a single human mind can meaningfully track. Not 150 acquaintances, 150 people whose loyalty, mood, and position in the group you could reliably predict. Why would evolution bother building a brain this obsessed with head counts and social maps? Because for nearly all of human history, your survival depended on knowing exactly where you stood in your group. Who owed you a favor? Who might betray you? Who would share their fire on a cold night? Your ancestors who tracked this well lived longer, had more children, and passed down brains wired to crave belonging above almost everything else. The ones who didn't care about their social standing simply didn't survive long enough to pass anything down at all. Now here is the twist. You were built for tribes of maybe 50 to 150 people, small, tight, physically present groups where you saw the same faces every single day. Instead, you live in a world of thousands of digital contacts, hundreds of coworkers you'll never really know, and endless scrolling through the curated lives of strangers. Your ancient tracking system, the one built for a tiny village, is now trying to process an entire planet. No wonder it short circuits. Researcher Julianne Holt-Lunstad ran a massive analysis combining data from over 300,000 people and found something startling. Chronic loneliness carried a mortality risk comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Comparable. Let that sit for a moment. A feeling, an emotional state, carried physical risk on the same scale as a pack and a half of cigarettes daily. This wasn't a metaphor for how bad loneliness feels. It was a measurable, physical, statistical reality. Your brain isn't being dramatic when it screams at you to reach out to someone. It is running the same emergency protocol your ancestors relied on to survive the African savanna, the Ice Age tundra, and every dangerous night in between. But here's where the story gets even more interesting. Loneliness isn't actually about how many people surround you. You can stand in a packed room and still feel completely alone. You can sit by yourself and feel entirely at peace. What matters isn't proximity. What matters is whether your brain believes those people would show up for you if something went wrong. That single belief, Whether help would come if you needed it is what your nervous system is actually measuring. Not the number of contacts in your phone, not the likes on your last post, just one ancient question running quietly in the background of your mind. If the world turned dangerous tonight, would anyone come? Isn't it wild that this one primal question still shapes so much of what you feel in a completely modern life? This explains something that confuses a lot of people about social media. You can have thousands of followers and still feel the ache of isolation because followers don't answer the ancient question. Your brain doesn't calculate the number of your connections, it calculates the reliability of them. Quantity was never the currency your ancestors' brains evolved to track. Depth was. And depth, unfortunately, does not scale the way follower counts do. So the ache you feel isn't a personal failure. It isn't proof that something is wrong with you or that you don't deserve connection. It is a signal doing exactly what it was built to do, just aimed at a world it was never designed to navigate. Your body is still trying to keep you alive using instructions written for a version of life that vanished 10,000 years ago. Understanding this changes what you do with the feeling. Instead of scrolling to numb it or telling yourself you're simply built wrong, you can treat the ache the way you'd treat hunger. You wouldn't shame yourself for feeling hungry, you'd eat. Loneliness deserves the same practical response, not more self-judgment, but actual connection. A real conversation, a shared meal, a voice on the phone instead of a notification on a screen. Because your ancient brain isn't asking for perfection. It isn't asking for hundreds of friends or a packed calendar. It's asking for the same thing it asked for around a fire 50,000 years ago. One person who would come looking for you if you went quiet. So tonight, when you check your phone and feel that small ache when no one responds, remember what it actually is. It is not weakness. It is not a flaw. It is one of the oldest and most reliable systems your body owns, quietly asking a question it has asked since before written language existed. The question isn't whether you're alone in a crowded world. The question is whether, if the world turned dangerous tonight, someone would come.